So please quickly introduce yourself more precisely than I did. Bettina, hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Fabian and team. I'm Bettina Hein. I'm the founder and CEO of Julie. I'm a lifelong software entrepreneur. My first startup was a spinoff of the ETH Zurich in speech tech. My second, I founded out of MIT in Boston in video advertising. And now my third act is Julie, a digital health company that helps people manage their chronic conditions. And yes, my hobby is that I am a judge on the Swiss version of Shark Tank called Höhle der Löwen Schweiz.
Thank you so much, Bettina. Please, Dominic.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dominic. At CSS, we are a health insurance company, and we are very interested in getting most out of it for our customers, together with startups like you. And so we are really happy to scout all the newest technology, but also customer experience innovations. And so that's what we are about. And me, myself, I have a business IT background and also some innovation. And so happy to have, with this perspective, a look into the startups after. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dominic. And please, Dorian.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here at the first edition of this event. I'm Dorian, CEO of BV4. We support both sides of the investment ecosystem. So we support startups on the field of valuation and preparing for fundraising. And also corporates and investors to find the best deals and assess them diligently and perform due diligences.
Thank you so much, Dorian. Then we will carry on and continue with our first startup. Prior to doing so, I would like to remind you that everything is recorded. So maybe your mom is going to see you later on if she rewinds the tape. And of course, for our startups, if you'd like to include a presentation, do so, share your screen. We're happy to see. Now, I'll stick to the timing as it's, you see, it's planning out here, 5 minutes per startup, and then poking holes for about 5 to 6 minutes. And the idea is not to pitch here, not to raise money. It's just to present what kind of fantastic ideas, what established businesses you have, and where are you likely to go. So we are starting off with Nicola Angerer from LifeDrop. The time is yours. There goes you 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Fabian, and thank you very much for to all of you guys for setting this up. I'm quite excited because I see other interesting startups that are a potential partner for us. And now suddenly I see many more interesting people in the call. So I will take the minutes to just quickly present what we do with LifeDrop. I would ask you if you see my screen.
We see it.
Perfect. So we started 2 years ago in Davos. We are two co-founders. I have a more business background, and my co-founder Noe has his background much more in the technical part. And we have now developed for the last 2 years hardware with a software component, of course. And you see it here. This is LifeDrop. LifeDrop is a pod that opens up, and you take a seat, a very comfortable seat in here, and then technically you completely close down you close the pod. So you can really imagine you're completely isolated from the world outside. Behind the chair, there is a projector that projects, like you can imagine, like an IMAX cinema into this capsule. So we work with videos, we work with the sound, and we can work with the smells as well. And we are going live. So to tell you a bit where we are going live in 10 days. With our MVP. We've received quite good feedback on our prototype, and we are now talking to various different clients. And now, so that's a bit to the product. now I would like to tell you a bit about our use cases. The first LifeDrop that we sold will be placed at a clinic, a private clinic in Switzerland, where they basically work with psychosomatic patients. So what we do with them is we have content providers, that's meditation apps, for example, that work with mindfulness. And we also have some light therapy, and we can now dig deeper into this, I would say, a bit health technologies that are very interesting, working with oxygen and so on and so on. But to remind you, our MVP, we are quite basic here, but we want to develop this further. A second use case is very similar. We have first clients that will install LifeDrop in their office. So there we're talking more about an employee well-being initiative, and today's time in the COVID is unfortunately a bit unfortunate, I would say, for the budgets, I would say, in this area, but it's all employee well-being market and the change of the future workplace. We still see a lot of potential going forward, and we will run first tests now, first initiatives. So basically the objective is, in 10 sessions, how can an employee reduce stress? The content that we provide is also available on the app. So there with employees, we also see LifeDrop kind of a symbol to symbolize this transformation that the company is going through. I see I have a bit more than a minute left. I want to quickly mention also our cash cow. At the moment, we are also selling LifeDrop to companies that are doing events. So you can imagine Swisscom having a B2B event, and then they actually show their own content in there. So it's much more about creating a customer experience. We will have a pilot where we try to sell some real estate objects in the LifeDrop. We will install it in lounges where we work with a pay to use system. And this is a bit easier for us because we don't need to generate this content. But however, that's our revenue streams at the beginning. So this being said, we are now funded. We just closed our seed round. We have a whole year ahead of us to play around. We are very interested to talk to many people. So if you have content, if you have pilot projects in mind, if you might be a mentor for us, telling me what do we need to do from a, I would say, medical point of view, a roadmap in clinical trials. I'm just wondering, I'm digging deeper into this health case, and I'm looking for people to talk to.
Thank you so much, Nicola Unger. I had to live drop you out here. Perfect.
I was finished. Perfect.
Quite on time landing, I'd say. Now, as this is an entirely software solution, as we see, I'd be happy to hear Bettina's questions or challenges on the project.
Sure. When have you thought of offering this to medical spas or just hotels in general? Is that an area that you've explored?
Yes, we are planning, or we would have had a pilot project in Intercontinental in Davos, in the spa, in a 5-star hotel. There we tried a model where we have end users paying. And to put it simply, if 3 people sit in it every day, that's no business case. If suddenly 12 people are using it, it starts to get interesting also with different models, I would say, that where hotels and spas could work with us, like shared revenues model, or they take it in a subscription model and they keep their revenues or whatever. Yeah.
So that's would have been my next question. How much do you think you're going to charge? Is it a rental fee where you have monthly basis there, or are you going to revenue share?
Yeah, so the first one, we tried to sell it from a cash flow perspective. That was interesting. There was an early bird discount involved, but that's 48,000. What we received good feedback on is on our subscription model. There we charge 1,700 for a month, so that's 20,000 a year. and you get all the content, you get the updates, you get this, you have a service level agreement, you get the service with it. And that's a model that most clients prefer up to now. What we also do is like a short-term rent. So we've had companies now that agreed on paying around 10,000 for a weekend event, and we bring it there, we put the logo on it and so on. So we are, to be honest, we're quite broad right now with these pricing models. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Dominic?
Yeah. So how did you came up with the idea? Is it like to jump into another universe, or?
Well, it was actually my co-founder, Noe. He was traveling a lot in China, building cable cars, and he was freaking out at the airports, and he was looking so much for this place to retreat. And then we had the similar, like the discussion that in the office, you always have this open office, you're there for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes I think it would just be more efficient to take this 10 minutes for yourself. I've heard people telling me that they take a nap on a toilet. That's one of the big banks in Switzerland, and things like that. It goes, I think it's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. And so the content that you will display, this is like a standard set from you or from the one that is implementing it?
So from the content right now, we have 3-4 different providers, and that list is growing. We asked a lot for free content for this year, and then we'll figure it out with them later on. But in my opinion, we need specialists. So one of our providers has done 6 years of research, clinical trials on how his content can help cancer patients, can help other patients, can help even sport athletes. And like, we don't have the resources to do that. So content wise, I'm working with partners, but how exactly those models are being set up, we're testing a bit in different ways now. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I would put it in airports, by the way. I know that's right now not a great business model, but it will be again in the future.
Yeah, we have had a few discussions with them. The business lounges we're having it targeted. Yeah.
Yeah. Making airports more chill out zones. So Dorian, I'm happy for your feedback.
Yeah, great product. Would love to try it myself. And yeah, I thought about it's probably the easiest way to sell it is really through experience, right? And I think the airport discussion is great. But what's maybe the lowest hanging fruits for you, and how do you plan to, especially in the today's environment, to get these experiences done on the client side?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch your question there. On the
yeah, what do you think are the lowest hanging fruits in terms of the first adopters, and how do you plan to sell it in the end, to get the experience, or to share the experience with your customers?
Yeah, so what the big challenge that we have, and I mean, that's our big topic now, is we need to put a focus, right? We need to choose which market we're really going for. And right now we're a bit all over the place, but that are my low hanging fruits. So I have a lot of people like that we're discussing ideas with, and they're open for projects. To be honest, my personal opinion there is we have sold now to a clinic. The market is reacting quite well in this environment. And right now I'm like preparing an outreach to clinics and hospitals, really to work with their patients, potentially also with their employees. And that's the focus that we currently put. But the low hanging fruits really are more like the network, and just like the people I get in touch to that are kind of open to give this a shot. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicolo. 5 minutes have already elapsed. I see one low-hanging fruit question in terms of quickness to respond to from Umberto Bondi. Can you tell us the dimensions of the subject?
Yes, it's 3 meters long, so that you can imagine you fully lie down. It's 150 wide and 150 height, or 220. So, but yeah, we can put it in different components. So if we need to put it in the 10th floor somewhere, it's a bit more annoying than just dropping it off, but it's like Lego for big guys, to put it that way. We can install it anywhere.
So it would work in MBA as well. Thank you
Yes.
so much. There is one question from Vin Sovereigns. Are you seeing yourself as an EOM? But I think, Nicolo, please take a quickly time to refer to him in a written manner so that we can continue with Mario Stark from Vivior. There's your stage, Mario.
Okay, thanks everybody. I'd like to show my screen here. So while I'm fighting with Zoom, maybe a quick introduction myself. I've been in medical devices for all my life. And now I'm in a startup that really looks at what we call vision care. So let me introduce you to the future and to Emma. Emma is our future. Since we're all working now from home and working in front of a computer, we'll have issues with our back, with our arms, with our wrists and ankles, but also, of course, with our vision. And this is a projection of how we all might look like in 20 years. And I think it's not a nice picture. And one issue that is part of this causing this situation is that the optical solution that people have, be it spectacles, contact lenses, or other solutions, they are not happy with, so it's more than 50%. And since we have a lot of different opportunities to actually change your vision, we have progressive spectacles, we have intraocular lenses, contact lenses. I mean, there's really the question why, since we do have so many good solutions, we do not have, at the end of the day, a really customer satisfaction as we should have. We at Vivior think that there is one piece that is missing in the equation to make vision really optimal and to really help everybody with their vision. And that is, currently we have a lot of information from a lot of diagnostic tools about eye health. So you can measure the eye, you can measure the refraction, you can measure many things about the physiology of the eye. But one thing that's missing is actually the visual behavior. What do you do all day? Do you work in front of a computer? Is it a laptop? Do you sit correctly in front of these computers? Do you have issues? Are you outside a lot? Are you hiking, biking, whatever? So what we've developed is a nice little device that sits on your spectacles. It measures your, what we call visual behavior. The information we have is about distances, about head positions, head movement, light conditions. So we know about how does your day really look like? How does your visual behavior look like? It's based on LiDAR technology. So we can really accurately measure with our laser time of flight sensors what's happening in your surroundings, how you live your life, what you do during the day. Now, how does this work in practice? You get a first contact with Vivior that can be either through an eye care specialist, an ophthalmologist, or an optician. It can also be through the HR department of large corporations, because again, if you work from home, the company you work for has actually a responsibility for your health, and it's very hard to keep that up during these difficult COVID days. So you wear the device for 36 hours. There is a analysis that's done automatically with our AI-based software. And then we can really make recommendations directly to the patient, directly to the user about, well, you should buy a new computer screen because this one is no longer up to standard. You should change your sitting position, or you should actually go to your optician and really change the way you have your vision corrected, or directly to professionals, as I said, opticians, optometrists, ophthalmologists, that they can really select the best solution for your vision and for your situation. This is about all aspects of your life. So again, it's not only about correcting your vision with spectacles or contact lenses, it's also about making sure that you have the best performance in whatever you do. This can be at the work, where you need a good performance to have good Zoom meetings, or it can be that during leisure, you want to get your handicap down. It's also about prevention. One big issue these days about eye health is that there is a growing number of children who are myopic, which is short-sighted. This is an epidemic, actually, mostly also in Asia. There is numbers that like 80% of all children in China are myopic, and this can be a big problem for them and causing long-term issues. And also, as I said, where we started out with Emma, it's about digital office health. We really want to make sure that you don't work on your computer like the woman you see here, that you have a good posture, that you good sitting position, because that will prevent what is called computer vision syndrome, which can lead to neck pains, back pains, and headaches and other issues. The system is CE approved, FDA accepted. We have 8 patents. Yep, 8 patents issued, 8 patents applied for, 2 issued. We have already sold 800,000 in revenue. We have an established client base. This is mostly in the vision care arena. You see some big names here, you see some smaller names, but this is where we are. And of course, what we're looking for is partnerships with companies working in the same space, but partners like large companies or insurance companies that are interested in digital office health. But of course, also we're a startup, we're always looking for money. So if there is an idea about how to reach investors, that is highly welcome.
Thank you so much, Mario. Another interesting business concept here, and we are looking forward to the comments, ideas, feedback from Bettina.
Thank you, Mario, for this good presentation. I'm curious about your business model. How do you charge your customers for this so far, and where do you think your business model is going to evolve to?
Thank you for that question. Currently, we charge a click fee per report. So if an optician uses our system, they actually, for each customer, they give the system to and get the report and then can make a recommendation. We charge currently 50 Swiss francs for each report. Mm-hmm. We see that moving forward, that it's going to more be part of an integrated service, so that an insurance company, a large company can actually offer this to their employees as a service that will help them reduce their cost for healthcare, but also, of course, increase productivity.
And your geographic footprint right now, where have you sold this solution?
Our most important markets are Germany and Switzerland. There are about 80% of our customers come from those 2 countries, but we have also distributors in other European countries like Benelux, Spain, Germany, and we've also started with a distributor in the US. Mm-hmm.
Have you faced any adoption difficulties from people not wanting to wear this device for 36 hours? And could you shorten the amount of time people need to use it?
Yes, I mean, there are some people who will not wear it. That's very clear. I mean, it is something that you need to put your spectacles. I've worn it a lot myself. So if, of course, if I walk into a bar, well, which I don't these days, but if I walk into Migros, of course, people look at me and I might have some questions about that. So yes, I mean, not everybody's comfortable with it. That's fine. But I think for a first viable product, we have already customers and that works. From a longer term perspective, unfortunately, we don't see the direction that will reduce the measuring time, because we need enough data to understand your lifestyle. So if you're actually in the office one day and then you travel the other day and then you hike on the weekend, we need all that data. What we see rather is that we can, of course, miniaturize the device. So it gets a lot smaller and a lot easier to, let's say, hide if you don't want to be recognized as wearing Vivior. On the other hand, it's also interesting that some of our customers, the opticians, say, no, this is a perfect opportunity to do marketing, because on the device, there's actually the logo of the optician. So if somebody walks around with that and you say, what are you wearing? Who's that? I mean, you're working with Fielmann, you're working with Koch Optics, so it's also a little marketing tool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bettina. And maybe Dominic.
Yeah. So I would wonder, is it also a prevention case for people without glasses?
Yes, I mean, if you don't wear glasses, I mean, of course, you don't, at this point in time, you might not need a vision correction solution, but trust me, that will come. It's just a question of age. You're too young for that, sorry. But the other part is, of course, you're working on a computer, you're working in the office, so you might really have some issues with your posture, how you sit in front of a computer, with the dimensions of your chair, of your desk. And there we can give you clear glass spectacles you can wear for like a day or two just to check out that situation.
Okay, nice. And I really liked your first image with Emma, the horrifying picture, which made me change my sitting position right after. Thanks.
I agree.
Thank you.
Maybe Dorian?
Are you?
Change
Yeah,
sitting position as well?
absolutely. Always trying to. I wonder whether you also investigate partnerships with glass manufacturers, and if there's even potential to integrate that in a new model in the glasses directly.
Yes, we are. We're in discussion with all the large glass manufacturing companies. I mean, you might have seen the logos, Zeiss, Essilor, Rodenstock, and Hoya, but also with some smaller glass manufacturers. Because yes, there's an absolute opportunity, because what we can do, we can actually take the data from your visual test, from the refraction as it's called. We can take the data from Vivior, and with that actually calculate the optimal spectacle glass design for you and really come to a personalized spectacle. We actually are on the verge of launching that with some of our partners.
Thanks a lot. And there's also a comment from Olivia. She's our CEO. She says, make sure to check out our virtual office hours planned for May. Great opportunity for our SHS startup members to connect with investors. You'll receive further information in April via email. And via Zoom, we carry on with our third startup. And this is Martin Rüfenacht from Consilium Care. So far, I say thank you so much, Mario Stark, Nicola Angerer. And we're looking forward to Consilium Care.
Excellent. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Fabian. It's always a pleasure to get an opportunity to introduce our solution, Consilium Care. Consilium Care, it's all about a cancer therapy story. Let me explain what we do. Sorry. Yes, here we are. Good. Okay, now you can see the screen. Cancer diagnosis is always a shock. The diagnosis is shocking not only the whole family and surrounded by it's surrounded by a very strong uncertainty. The visits to the doctor only take place every 3 weeks, and in between there is more or less a kind of a radio silence. The hotline of the Cancer League and all the nice documents you got from the doctor can only help in a limited way. And emotions, unanswered questions, and a completely changed life are characterizing the therapy phase. Added to this is the fact that the patient could need to visit the emergency unit at any time because of a strong side effect of the medication. By the way, this happens to half of all cancer patients we know. In summary, for patients as well as for the whole family, this time is a huge burden. It was precisely this experience that motivated a visionary team around Professor Andreas Trojan from the Oncology Centrum in Zurich to help these patients with digital tools. And with Consilium Care, we want to contribute now to make sure that cancer patients don't have to go through this again, and that the time of therapy becomes a little more bearable and less risky. The cancer patient treatment journey, it's important to understand. Let's have a look at the treatment journey so far to understand all those challenges. We talk about an unexpected diagnosis, followed by a roughly 6-month therapy period. After the therapy period, more than 66 points of the patient are back in life and have to keep an eye on potential new symptoms for the next 5 years. About numbers, in Switzerland, we count roughly 60,000 new cancer patients per year, and therefore more than 220,000 people are actually within this window of 5 years. The cancer treatment challenge, as already mentioned, and everybody can imagine what happens on the patient side as on the doctor side as well. 95 points of all of these cancer patients are treated in an outpatient setting. Okay, therefore the dialogue or the communication with the doctor is really challenging, and all the other challenges you can imagine yourself. What we did, Consilium Care, is our digitized patient treatment journey. The treatment journey allows you to collect your symptoms. You can answer all the questionnaires. It's a standardized version to answer those questionnaires. You can get an overview of all the symptoms, and you have a chart and you have notes. You can write down all the drugs you take, and for the next doctor's visit, you are well prepared. You can share all those information with the doctor during the visit, or you can share those informations on a daily basis, and your doctor can have a review. He can give you some recommendations between the visits, and therefore it makes the therapy period very, very easy. The app is already available. You can download it in the App Store, okay, and it's available for iPhones as for Android phones as well. The doctor, as you can see on this picture, Professor Troyer on the left side, has a kind of a dashboard where we have the similar information the patient has on his smartphone. Therefore, the collaboration between patient and doctor is very, very simple using that application. Within the application, you have a lot of additional features. You get smart tips, what you can do. You can get all the important contact details from your doctor or from the emergency unit. You can track your health 4 times a day. You have a diary.
1 minute to go.
Okay, you can use it as a proxy, and therefore it's easy to use. Consilium Care is developed since 5 years, and we are ready to market. We have described the story with 4 clinical trials so far. Therefore, we know what we do. The perfect market fit is clear. We have disreviewed high quality data. We focus on the patient-doctor relationship. And the last point is the most important. We are VHTA ready in Switzerland, and we become DIGA certified in latest April 21 in Germany. Therefore, we become part of our community. Download Consilium Care. It's a freemium version. You can submit up to 2 symptoms per day, ask for a demonstration, become part of our community, and let's give the patient a voice. Thank you, Fabian.
Spot on landing. Thank you so much, Martin. And here comes Bettina.
Thank you for the interesting presentation, Martin. So who is going to pay for this? Is it the insurers, or you mentioned a freemium version, the patients themselves? How does this currently work, and how is it going to develop?
All of them. Okay, no, there is one version for insurance companies. Of course, we believe within the follow-up phase during this 5 years window, insurance companies will invite their clients to use the diary. Then we have the oncologists and all the clinicians and the hospitals. They will use that tool to keep the collaboration between patient and doctor on a high level. And at least we see the pharmaceutical industry. They will invite their customers to review the symptoms when using their drugs. And therefore, these 3 revenue streams are the most important.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you charge?
240 Swiss francs per 6-month period for the therapy phase, and 84 Swiss francs for the follow-up phase per year.
Mm-hmm. How much?
It's VAT. It's for the professionals, for the specialists in the round. It's VAT ready. You can use the VAT fee to pay that application.
Mm-hmm. And so how much revenue have you generated to date, and how much money have you raised?
The revenue is a small one. We have so far 14 clinics with around 2,200 patients. Okay, now you can calculate yourself how big the cash is. We raised so far 2.4 million within the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Here comes the number crunching, interesting numbers. Maybe Dominic carries on with the number crunching. Let's see.
Yeah, so I like the way that you communicate or enable patients to communicate with the doctors. Is it just on site each time, or can they communicate in the meanwhile?
No, there is a kind of a chat functionality. You can send the vitals every day, and then the doctor, when he opens the dashboard, he gets an announcement that there is a request from the patient. In the next phase, there will be a live communication between doctor and patient, but it's a challenge to get the availability of the doctor, of course. And in the next version, there is a patient-to-patient community. We believe in cancer patients help the cancer survivors, they helping each other, and then we believe that there will become a very helpful hints from other cancer patients. This will become the next step in collaboration.
And from the money that you raised, did you also get funding from pharma companies?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so a similar case is Ratio, which is I think with Roche. Maybe you know it already as competitor. Yeah. But yeah.
For us, pharmaceutical companies are partners for us. We are in touch with most of them. They have their own ePro solutions, their own kind of clinical trial solutions. And we believe in a strong partnership with them, and we don't see them as competitors.
Okay.
Thank you, Dominic. There was a question? So thank you, Dominic. Here comes Dorian.
Why did you decide for cancer treatment? Is there a specific reason for that, or why it makes most sense for it?
The founder is an oncologist, and he has every day 40 patients with those troubles. That was one main reason. And cancer is really a huge challenge in every country. And as of course, we could use the similar story for other chronic disease, but we focus on cancer so far. Yeah. And the ecosystem around cancer, we have this therapy phase, this 6 months period, and then the prevalence phase, this 5 years window, and that is in our point of view, it's a very interesting surrounding situation.
Can you also integrate third-party data, like biomarkers or wearables? I think was also a question coming from the audience.
The last 15 years, I was one of the builders of the electronic health record, and I believe in each and every standard and interoperability, and this is a very huge aspect. We like to integrate our solution in existing clinical information system on one side, and we like to use vitals from your watch, from other devices. I will invite Mario to give us his signals from his device. Eventually we can use, and whatever we have a very strong data lake in the background, and we try to drive a machine learning algorithm to run predictive analytics for the future.
Thanks, super interesting.
Thank you, Dorian. Thank you so much, Martin. There have been 2 other questions. So the one you've been integrating, why limit yourself to cancer? There might be a use case for other medical conditions. And there's another question, can you integrate your app with other wearables? And there's an answer from Stefan Kohler, and maybe Martin Iriu can refer to all those questions directly in the chat.
I will do so.
Directly go to Manuel Krause from Pocket Coach. Welcome, Manuel. Is Manuel in the line? Everyone seen Manuel? It's a bit like in the Faulty Towers with John Cleese. There used to be Manuel as well. Do we have Manuel around? Nora, have you had online contact with Manuel?
No, I did. I thought I saw him, but I just check quickly. So maybe you can answer some questions.
So Manuel or Parker Coach, as I'm informed, they are from Vienna. Maybe there has been even a PCR test online going on and some restrictions due to that. We never know. In respect or with regards to our startups, LifeDrop, Vivior, and Consilium Care, we use that opportunity to quickly open the round up to our participants that are still all the ones that have logged in at 12 a.m. Do you have any questions to any of our yet 3 startups? Or then I'll give the opportunity to Stefan Kohler to quickly have a little outline information on the medical device regulation that you have put into the chat. Maybe Stefan, you can quickly outline to that, because that is some deep knowledge coming from the legal department.
Thank you. I'm surprised that I have to speak here.
I know, that's why I bring
but I can give a short comment on this. As we all know, the MDR, the medical device regulation, will be coming into force on May 26 this year. And this means especially for the medical device software, that the classification for most of these products or services will change from class 1 to a higher class, class 2A and higher. And that means that in the future, the companies need to conduct the conformity reviews, not by themselves, but by the notified bodies. And the requirements for bringing those products and services onto the market will be more difficult than in the past. And I just posed this question for Consilium, whether you are prepared for these changes. It is not for all startups an easy thing to do, because being complied with the new requirements of the MDR will be a challenge, not only from a scientific and technical point of view, but also from a financial point of view. Perhaps I can pass over the question to Consilium.
Okay, no, only a short answer. We are spending a lot of money and time to become a medical grade, to get this MDR certification in time, especially for the German market, to become a DIGA certification. It's really important. And I guess we are more than aware of that situation. Thank you, Stefan. But it's challenging. I guess it is a huge challenge for a lot of startups. You have a good idea and then you spend really a lot of time, and you need a lot of money to become certified on all these levels. This is really a challenge.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you so much, Martin. And for those who are oblivious or don't know who was Stefan, Stefan is a lawyer. So he is quite familiar with medical device regulation issues and also some other questions within the legal field. Now, I would have another question for you, Martin. What is the feedback from the patients with your app, with your system?
The patient, okay. We have a lot of elderly patient, okay. It's not, the gap is not as difficult as we expected. They like to use the smartphone. They don't use the diary several times a day. They use it up every second day, and then they integrate their information. But those patients we have, they like mostly to get in touch with the doctor between the visits. This is the best benefit they see in that solution. They do not use the drugs. They do not fill in the drugs. They don't use the notes. This is too difficult, as we see. But the collaboration between doctor and patient seems to be a strong feature.
Thank you. Mario, with your device, did you ever have in mind to reduce the size of the device? Did you stick to the glasses?
Yes, of course, we're working on that. I mean, what we see there is quite an opportunity there, because the twofold. One is that if it's smaller, it's a little less obvious, so that might be beneficial to the patients. But the other part is also, I mean, if you reduce the weight, it's a little easier to wear, because currently if you have really large spectacle frames, it's not an issue, but if you have very thin frames, the weight might be a little uncomfortable.
Thank you so much. And Nicolo, have you ever thought about putting the LifeDrop into private homes? Maybe there is a family setting and the parents want to have an escape room.
Yes, we've had a few people mentioning this more in a joke, actually, but one of our first investors, I still strongly believe he partly invested because he just really wanted the LifeDrop in his family office. So that could almost be a private use case. Yes, I think it could be that we actually sell, let's say, out of the 10 first capsulas, that actually 3 or 4 could be sold to private people in the network of our network. Let's put it that way.
Here I am.
But maybe not. I don't think this is our commercialization.
A niche market for private people. Yeah. So thank you so much. But prior to closing, thank you everyone who attended. All those 40 were in the line. Now there is 3 that have decided to eat some lunch in the meantime, but big thank you to Bettina Hein, big thank you to Dominik Schürmann and Dorian Ebneter, and to our startups, Nicolo, Mario, Martin from LifeDrop, Vivior and Consilium Care. We want to make this thing the best, most convenient that it can be, and we are entirely depending on the market, and the market and the opinions is you. So Nicolo, Martin and Mario, would you have to have some feedback on how we could improve this event? And then I will carry on with the same question at the 3 jury members. I know it's a surprising question, but an important one.
Oh, I can say I like the event. I mean, it was, I think the time's right, and that I appreciate that you keep the presentation short, because you should be able to explain in 5 minutes what it's about, and I appreciated the feedback from the experts. So I'm fine.
Thank you.
I also really like the setup. I was actually not sure how you plan this, but it would be really nice to maybe be able to reach out to some of them.
So you mean too many or too few?
No, it's nice. It's nice, but I mean, it would be nice to then also have an option to have all of that. That would be perfect. But I will just look everybody up and see who is interesting, because I'm also going to reach out to the other startups.
Great, yeah. 40 people in a room in a time where you're only allowed to have 5 people in a room. We exceeded the limit, but we're very happy to do so. Maybe Martin, your feedback?
I guess it's a cool cool orchestration of different stories. It's all healthcare at the end. I would like to have the opportunity to pitch upfront for all the potential visitors, that they see what is the story behind Mario's, Nicolo's and Martin's story, to have where in this big healthcare picture is your opportunity or product.
Okay. Fantastic. And now the jury in the reverse order. Dorian from BV4.
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting format, and I think for the startups that are pitching, it's very important what they are looking for in this session, but also on the way forward, maybe what are the challenges, because I think it's quite a diverse audience. And I would always recommend to also use this platform to also mention it.
Thank you. Dominic from innovation or as an innovation manager at SHS.
Yes, I really appreciate it to be part of the event. I like the format and the duration of the speech and feedback and so on. Maybe a wish or how we maybe could improve is maybe with like some more interaction with the crowd, or something like that maybe. And I go with Martin with the order the startups into a big picture. I guess would be some kind of helpful for all of us. Yeah, thanks.
Olivia mentioned it in the chat. Use SHS Cortex to reach out to peer SHS startups. Might help a lot. And in closing, we are happy to have her as a serial entrepreneur with a very strong track record also in the US, Bettina Hein.
I really like the event, and I appreciate very much that it's not in the evening. I think not enough event organizers understand that we have families and children to feed. So thank you for doing it over lunch. I thought the presentations were all really interesting. I'm always sad when I'm on these juries that I don't get to ask more questions. But I think it's good that it's a short format. I would say maybe have just 3 startups and then have 2 sort of speed dating rounds where you get to meet people, because that's the one thing that all of us, I think, have been missing in the last year, is having those serendipitous interactions with new people. And I think the Swiss healthcare startup scene really needs to bond a little bit, and you could facilitate that.
What a great summary. And this could be a vision. Today, planned as 4, came at 3. I think that's a good starting point to use this format as it happened to be in the future. Next opportunity to check in is on the 14th of April. And Bettina, we are having you in the jury in June again. And we are very grateful that you all took your time to foster the ecosystem and to a little bit linger around during lunchtime. If you need more information on SHS, check out swisshealthcarestartups.com and check out respectively each other's websites. If you have any question on contacting each other, do so via Olivia or Nora Egli. Thank you so much for attending. And as with a great airline, we've started with a delay, but we've landed on time. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Adi, sorry, warte, man sollte fertig machen, dass man niemand zulässt. So, okay. Gut.